would have started 2018. I saw his story on Facebook with no knowledge of who he was as a person. And I reached out to the Kidney Foundation and started the process of seeing if I could even donate to begin with. And then found out I was a match, went through my testing, and then we got the A-OK in November of 2019, I think it was. Yeah, and the surgery was December of 2019.
December 18th.
Yeah, I have it on my arm now. Yeah.
I was diagnosed at a young age, and I mean, that alone is not easy, but I think when it comes to things like this, it was one thing to try and talk to people, but when you just kind of write a letter and you lay it all out there and then you just throw it out to the world, it's just a lot easier that way, and you get everything out there, I think. It's just, yeah, it's really hard to talk to people, but then once you get that out, it kind of just starts rolling, and people start talking to you about it. Everybody gets, I have a pretty big family, and everybody really was aware of everything, and then friends and family start to just talk to you about it, and they see it, and then it gains momentum. And yeah, I mean, all of a sudden one day there was a few messages from a few people that I've never met before saying, hey, I think I want to do this. And you know, I messaged back, this is great, thank you very much. And most of them never saw a thing again, and you know, a couple years go by and I was hanging on to my function, but it was starting to get pretty bad. Several people went through and they weren't a match, but all of a sudden you get a call one day and it's like, hey, there's somebody who's ready to do this, and you're like, November I got the call, and you're just like, okay, all of a sudden. And one of the funny parts was they were asking, when can you do this? And I was like, well, how about December 18th, because that's after my exams. And I think and then somehow you, being the most selfless person, you say this is okay. I'm like, wow, just right before Christmas, right? When we were actually going into the operating room, I see somebody in another bed, and they wave at me, and I'm sitting there like, huh, that's weird. And then I'm going in there, and then they're getting me ready and everything. I'm just like, what the heck was that all about? And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. And then mask goes on and lights out. And I'm like, I realized right then that was her. Yeah.
So I knew what he looked like.
I guess
from
we
his
met.
Story on Facebook. I knew what he looked like. And then just the way, because when it's anonymous, they keep you very separate.
Yeah.
But then when they turned my bed to go into my operating room, then he was coming down the hallway, and just my instinct was like, hey. And then I went in my room, I was like, oh my gosh, why did I wave at him?
I don't know where my head was at, and I was like, oh my God, I didn't wave back. And then out cold, just.
The one thing for me is you're surrounded for the entire weekend by really good, kind, genuine, loving people. There's no negativity, there's no anything. It's just like very pure and very happy. And it's very hard in today's society to find those kind of communities that are just built straight up on love, joy, happiness. Even if somebody's in pain, they're still happy. They're hugging each other, so happy to see you, high-fiving, woo, all the cheers. And like, yeah, our society now has really lost touch of like the community aspect of a lot of things. And the Kidney March family is a really beautiful thing. And after my first year, I was like, I'm going to do this every year for the rest of forever, because you want a part of that joy. And it's just hard to come by in our society, unfortunately, but this is the weekend. I look forward to it, I really do. Every
single person here can relate in at least one way, and that's what causes everybody to just kind of gel together, and you get that piece that we've all been touched. And so yeah. It really brings us all together.